Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Yesterday was so pretty outside. I can't even believe the sun was out and people were out and flowers. We planted flowers yesterday. We did all sorts of things. And then today it's freezing. I'm going to read Buckle and Squash, The Perilous Princess Plot by Sarah Courtauld, chapter 22, in which it is revealed that Lavender's singing has unusual powers. Violet roared and sent a huge ball of fire towards them, then swiped at them with her enormous claws and snapped at them with her enormous teeth. Run! Shouted Eliza. All three of them ran headlong toward the forest, but it was no use. With one scoop, Violet picked up Eliza and Lavender up in her claws. This was definitely not part of the plan. Lavender shut her eyes. She froze like ice cream. Grrr, said Eliza. She was pummeling Violet as hard as she could with her fist as she tried to pry herself out of the moat dragon's grasp. But it was impossible. Violet, shouted Bonnet from the ground. Over here! He jumped and waved to get Violet's attention. He clapped his hands. He did a dance, but Violet was more interested in the two small girls in her claws. I know, gasped Lavender. I've got it. I'll charm her with my song. Is that a joke? Said Eliza, still kicking and punching and whacking Violet as hard as she could, although her attacks seemed to be as effective as pelting a whale with marshmallows. Whatever you do, don't sing, Eliza yelled. It will just make her more angry. But Lavender took no notice. A moment later, Mortimer heard the unfortunate sound and came running outside, astonished to see that the two princesses were still alive. He lowered the drawbridge, and soon he was nearly at the dragon's side, staring amazed at Violet and at Lavender, who was singing at the top of her voice. Oh, lovely Violet, you've got a lovely face. You've got such pretty fangs, and what a lovely place. Stop, said Eliza, stop! Because the more Lavender sang, the more violently Violet shook them from side to side. And now the moat dragon's head began to sway with clouds of purple steam pouring out of her ears. Oh, lovely Violet, you've got a lovely smile. You've got a lovely, very slightly homicidal style. Oh, lovely Violet, please, please don't eat us for your tea. 'Cause I taste worse than Brussels sprouts, and she tastes worse than me. Lavender, stop! Your singing is making her crazy, Eliza yelled. It's driving her bonkers. It's sending her over the edge. It was true. Dragons have very sensitive hearing. To any human who was listening, Lavender's song would have sounded incredibly painful. But to any dragon, her song sounded incredibly, 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 incredibly painful. All Violet's children had fled from the castle to get away from that terrible sound. But the noise had affected Violet so badly that she didn't even try to escape. She just reeled and writhed in pain. Oh, lovely Violet, you've got such lovely hair. You could be on the cover of Dragony Fair. Oh, lovely Violet, you've got such lovely ears. And oh, what lovely screams. And oh, what lovely tears. Wait, no, don't stop, said Eliza. Keep going. This could be our last chance to escape. Keep singing louder, higher. She can't cope. So Lavender kept singing. Oh, lovely Violet. Oh, what a lovely smell. A hint of vintage vomit and some deep sea snot as well. More, screamed Eliza, more. Violet was flailing around so violently now it was hard for Lavender to breathe, let alone sing. But still she kept going. As she went up an octave, Violet's violet colored eyes turned orange. Her tail crashed and thrashed and thumped on the ground. She started to wail. Someone should make a perfume and call it after you. Eau de Violet, Violet, fragrance de peau. That was it. As Lavender hit a top C and windows in a nearby sentry shattered, Violet shut her eyes and keeled over. As she fell to the ground, her claws opened, and Eliza and Lavender went tumbling out onto the grass. A moment later, they started to run towards the forest with Bonnet bumbling along behind them. They didn't stop until they reached the trees, where Gertrude was overjoyed to see them. And if they were worried about Mortimer chasing them, they needn't have been, because when they looked back, they saw him standing beside Violet with a look of amazement on his face. As they watched, Violet lifted up her head, groaned, shook herself, and got to her feet. Next to her, Mortimer had begun to dance. Violet, 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 I have been such a fool, he roared. To think it was here all along, staring me in the face. My fortune, right here in this moat. Don't you see? It is quite simple. The princesses escaped from the castle, completely riddled with the Black Death. Then you, Violet, pick them up. And what happens to them? Where are their boils? The bumps, the lumps? Gone, gone. It's you. You, Violet, are a miracle, a medicinal dragon. With one touch, you cured those pestilent princesses, which means each little dragon in this moat is worth a small fortune. All I have to do is sell them at market, and there we go, a fortune for me. Who needs princesses? And because Mortimer was so wildly excited by the vision of his fast fortune and his new collection of silver, gold, and platinum trousers, he did not notice the low growls coming from the dragon beside him. Now, he said, bending over the moat, where are they all? Come, my little violettas. Come to Morty Warty. Come on. Come. Erg. Mortimer yelped and blinked. It seemed that the moat was rushing away from him. Wait. No. It was that he was rushing away up into the air. He craned his neck around to see that the violet had picked him up by the loop of his dressing gown and was now dangling him over the moat. Violet, stop it! She began to swing him back and forth. Swish, swish. With every swing, Mortimer became paler and paler. That's enough now, Violet. Put me down. That's a good dragon. His gold shoes fell into the water. Ka-splash! Come on now, Violet. I was joking. Joking, of course. I would never do anything to harm you or wasploosh. Mortimer never got to finish his sentence as his dragon dunked him into the moat. Kasplish! She did it again. Then she took off into the air, flew up over the castle, and dropped him into the moat from a great height, falling. And as she flew past the castle, Violet gave it a resounding thump with her tail, which sent the entire building tumbling into the water. Boom! Lavender, Eliza, and Bonnet stood on the edge of the forest and stared, open mouthed, until Bonnet cleared his throat. Well, bye then, he said quietly. I suppose you'd best be going home. Bye then, said Eliza. Bye, said Lavender. You were so brave, Bonnet, she added. Thank you. And she planted a kiss on Bonnet's cheek. So where are you going now? Said Lavender. Oh, I've made a plan, said Bonnet. And what's your plan? I thought I might just sit under that tree for a bit, said Bonnet. Said Lavender. She wasn't sure if that was really a great plan. Which tree? That one over there, said Bonnet. I could describe it to you, but really there was nothing remarkable about it. It was just your standard tree. Branches, a trunk, leaves, that sort of thing. Well, said Eliza, do you want to come with us instead? Bonnet hesitated. Of course he wanted to say, yes, please, I would love to do that. More than I love sunshine and velvet and cheese jumping up and down. But he was a bit shy, so he just said, yeah, all right. Actually, it was Sydney's cousin, Dave. Well, boys and girls, that was the end of the chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that you heard Dasher and Odie barking really loudly, and that's because Breslin just pulled in with her new bunny. So evidently we have a new bunny in our family, and so that'll be something that I introduce to you as soon as I see it. Okay, so the next chapter will be chapter 23, in which Grandma Maud is suspicious. Bye. Have a great day. Stay warm. I'm so sorry it's so cold. It is freezing outside.
Ready, Mom?